Welcome back. Bailey Hutchison served as a senator from Texas for 2 decades before President Trump selected her as his ambassador to NATO during his first term. And she joins us now. Ambassador, thank you for being with us. We need your help because I want you to give us a tutorial. We're showing our audience right now a map of Russian-controlled territory in Ukraine. It sounds like the deal on offer to Zelenskyy is land for peace with NATO countries guaranteeing Ukraine's new borders. Is that plausible? Is that what we're talking about here?
Chris, I think you have done the cliff notes on that. Clearly, it is going to be a continued negotiation, apparently, on what the land swaps are, what the boundaries are, which ones they would be looking at. So it is getting down into at least a negotiation, which is a good thing, on what would be given up. And there's a particular area in the Donetsk that I think is the biggest contention, and that is the area that Russia has not taken, that Ukraine has been able to defend in these 3 years of war, and Russia's asking for that. And I think, of course, the Ukrainians are saying anything that we have been able to keep should be first and foremost ours. And so I think that's one of the negotiating points right there where you showed on the map that little area of Donetsk, which also may be where some of those rare earth minerals are that we have an agreement with Ukraine to produce.
Okay, before the summit in Alaska, it seemed like President Trump and our NATO allies were very much aligned. A ceasefire is a condition of new talks with deeper sanctions for Russia if Putin failed to comply. As these European leaders, many of whom you dealt with in your time in Brussels, jet into Washington, is this a sign of a schism here, or is this just the back and forth of diplomacy?
Well, I think the fact that the president has included the European leaders is very good because, first of all, security that is with the European allies is going to be part of this negotiation. So having them at the table, I think, is very good. And also, they deserve to have input. This is their borders. And, of course, NATO is part of all of this negotiation, but I think that it is going to be really important to have the Europeans understand what is at stake and to have an agreement with the Europeans, with us, with what we will do, with what they will do, and then most assuredly, Ukraine has to have the final say.
Okay, the conventional wisdom here in Washington, and you know conventional wisdom can be a problem in Washington, is that time is on Russia's side. But we are maybe finally starting to see the kind of economic contraction there that sanctions had previously failed to deliver, especially on oil revenue. Does Moscow have enough money to keep fighting in Ukraine at this current pace?
First, I think their economy is in shambles, and I think that it is so important for us to start using this leverage. It's outrageous, and it shows what Putin is, the thug that he is, that he would kill people, send missiles when there is a peace agreement that he has participated in going on. It is against every norm of behavior of a civilized country. And so, first of all, you have to knock Putin for what he's doing. His economy is in shambles. And I think one of the things that we should be holding out is that the Russians should pay for all this damage. And if they're going to violate the norms of negotiation, which is that you aren't fighting when you are sitting at the negotiating table, then I think we ought to be looking at the funds that have been held back by both Europe and the United States that are Russian funds that are in the banks in Europe and the US. And those funds should be used to repay all the debts that the Ukrainians are going to have to rebuild their country.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.